So in this video, I will show you how to take a data set that you find on the internet and put it into an Excel format that you can actually work with. So this is a data set that I found, just a website that I found online. And this happens to have a data set of all NFL players' salary. So what I want to do, and this data set happens to be pretty easy with this, is I can actually click on this and say I want to get the table as a CSV file. So I'm going to export it, and if you look at it, it doesn't look like much to work with. But I can highlight all of it. And then I'll be able to copy it once I get it all highlighted. It's a long data file, obviously. Oops, no, too far. And I'll copy it, and then I'll go into Excel. And Excel, I'll create a new file. And in this new file, I will paste this. Now, it all puts it in the very first column, and it all puts it all together. So it doesn't look like it's very helpful. But if you go under Data, and go under, actually under Data up here, and go to Data Table, or I'm sorry, Text to Columns. Click on Text to Columns. It won't look like much here. If you go to the very next thing, you can actually say I want to pick it as columns. And so you can, if you click this, right now it looks like there's nothing. If you click columns, you'll see it now will divide them into columns. Say next, and then say finish. And now all that data is in nice columns for us. The columns need to be made a little bit bigger, and you have all the data in there. Now, it may not be in the form you want it to be, so you might need to do some other work to get it into the form you want. You can also add a column. So let's say I want to add a column as to what team, if this is in the AFC or the NFC. And I might want to do that to see if the AFC, let's say I want to know if AFC pays more than NFC. But I now have all the data in here and I can work with it. I also could, let's say I want to work with using their position and see if quarterbacks get paid more than linebackers. So I could actually do a filter in R for that information. But like I said, you could also add a column in here where if you know what all these players, who they play for, you can put that information in here also, and whether or not they're an AFC or NFC team. You can also just, if you want to do a filter on the team names, because that's what this column represents. So you have all that information in here. If you want to, you can rename them if you want to. You can use the names that are here. Again, the names all have to be single names, single words, or have underscores in them to make them single words. And that will allow you to make them in there and be able to have a way to compare them. You can also look at another data set. Let's say I look at this data set, which is also data I got down from the internet. This is whether or not we use traditional or renewable power sources. And so if I wanted to say that a country in Africa used more renewable wind than it did solar, I could look at that information and kind of ask that question. Again, I can filter all this. These is actually tidy data because we have just Africa and just the data for that. But the titles are not written very well, so I have to redo the titles, clean them up a little bit so that they're all single words and not what they are right now. But I can also do that. If you want to, you can also do another data set. So for another data set, and I want to type some data in, let's say I collected some data, I could have the individual in the first column. The second column could be if I've got before or after information, so I could do before and then after. That could be one thing I could do, and then type all the data in. If I want to do individual and I want to look at some factor, let's say I want to look at their salary, and I want to look at some factor that I can deal with, such as they're a baseball player or a football player, I could also look at that information. Or I could do salary and whether or not they are have a master's or bachelor's degree. So I could look at that factor and put that factor in. And so those are different ways you could create your data sets.